Hello, I'm just going over notes. I've learned my lesson. Hope everybody's doing fine. I am so ready to get out of this town. So ready. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I mean, I like where I live, but I'm really ready to get out of town. So I hope you've had a great week. I know I have. It's been busy. Just busy with the drudgery of cleaning and packing up household goods. I know I've been talking about that for a while. I have not gone into detail about it. There's a reason for that. I'm not quite ready to just dive into that just yet, but it's coming. I'll explain. Some things happening, and I just have to make sure that my household goods are put into storage because change is coming, and I just want to be prepared when it happens. And yay, I want to be free. I don't like being tied down. I just found that out recently that I thought that I wanted to settle down, get a place, and just in the hustle and bustle of just where am I going to live next, and where's the best place to live. I decided that I kind of, well, I guess I'm kind of revealing the agenda is that I really, if I work from home, or at least from, I guess I'm a digital nomad. It's what I'm going to end up being. I'm not saying that's 100% set in stone, but I think it's leading that way. And I'm kind of curious to see where it gets me. I have some possibilities in there, some choices to make, and I have some options to choose from, which is good. It's good to have options. So I've been going through this whole week, excited that I'm going to be traveling finally. It's been a couple of months, and I'm really looking forward to this first trip to start the summer. It's going to be wonderful. So I'm keeping the faith. I know I'm going to be going pretty soon. So today I would say that I'm less than a week from going on this trip. So like I said in a previous podcast, I mentioned that I'm going to be stopping in Aruba and the Curacao and the Dominican Republic. I will have some fun things to do. Yes, there will be video because there seems to be, I'm sure some of you, well, I'm going to be honest with you. It seems like my travel stuff attracts more people than my self-improvement stuff. That's not unusual, and that's not bad. This journey really is about being free to begin with, and actually being able to let go and moving on, and just creating something new and doing new things every day. And this is no different than the stuff I teach. So I feel no bitterness and no sadness, and that you guys just like my travel videos, and whether that I've gone on a cruise ship and what I thought of the food. I would really like to be able to see that some of you spring free from whatever is holding you back, and you too may be able to go through a journey like mine, where you just realize whatever I'm holding on to is not serving me, and I really want to pursue other things. Maybe realize a dream we've buried deep inside because we thought we couldn't do anything about it, didn't have the money. There's always a worry. It's always, can I afford it? It should always be, before I go into tonight's topic, for the 10 Transformational Lessons. If you're just joining us now, I'm grateful for you. Thank you for joining us. I hope you also feel inclined to sign up for my newsletter. It's in the Pursuit of Joy newsletter, which I publish on substack.com. And that's for a small fee per month. I'm really grateful for any of your contributions. I don't work for money. So I'd like to share some more of this material that I teach through the newsletter that will arrive promptly every week in your inbox. And also I will have some audio to accompany each newsletter post to just reinforce some of the materials that I talk about in each essay for each week. And yes, I will be maintaining this podcast, and some of the topics I'll discuss may be included in some of those discussions that I post in my newsletter, but they may not. They may be an extension of what I talk about here that's not available to the public, but you will be able to sample a free post and audio file on Substack when you go to my newsletter landing page, if you're interested. And if any of these paths lead you to requesting that I work with you as a coach, I'll be so thrilled to have you. So I'm available, and I can do Zoom weekly calls to reinforce all the materials that you learn here. You can still listen here. You can still catch me on social media. I'm still dropping little tidbits here and there. Maybe it's just a Instagram post where I post a picture and it has a message. It means something. Something's going on, and I really want to share it at that time. So little by bit, little by little, trying to instruct more and more of you and how to improve your lives and just take complete charge, just not always operating by again the autopilot. If I say it again, if you're new here, if you're going to be a robot, you should be the best robot you can be, and you should be a good robot. So tonight's topic, I may not go long because it's been a long week and I've been pushing really hard to get a lot of this stuff in. I also have my 30 days to success course. They're all uploaded on teachable.com, and it has been kind of not nerve-wracking, but it's been some really tough few weeks between tweaking my knees, and that's still kind of funny now after the fact, but just getting injured and then having to stay at home more and actually had to push through. Some things happen for a reason. Maybe it's just telling me, well, first of all, take care of my body properly. And second, when I say I'm going to do something, I should do it. I should get to work on it. So I was dealing with a little bit of procrastination for a short while. I'm no different than anyone else, but I'm aware of these things and I'm constantly working on them. So it's going to be really refreshing to get out of this town, get out of DC. It's now getting a little bit, not quite humid yet, but I will be in other sunny places. I have the beach available, and whatever else I'm going to be able to do at that time. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I have some ideas in mind. I may do horseback riding again, like I did in my first cruise. This will be a cruise, by the way. I did not disclose that until tonight. But you should have guessed that. If you've been following me for a few months now, you should pretty much guess that if I'm hitting a bunch of places like that, I'm going to be going on a cruise. The cruise, it's something that I want to also use for the people I work with. And eventually, like I said in the previous podcast, I'd like to integrate that into my practice, where I do some retreats, 6 days, 7 days. Anything shorter than 6 days is not worth going on a cruise, just from experience. It's just by the time you get on the boat and then do what you got to do in the workshops and maybe hit the shore excursions to do something in each port, you got to click your heels and come home. 7 to 8 days, up to 9 days is perfect. I would do a longer one at some point in the future. Depends who wants to come. And again, I will be the travel agent myself. I'm the one who actually has access to all those magical tools of book and travel, so I can get better deals, especially with groups. So group pricing is always better for cruises. And I thought that using a cruise was a whole lot more convenient, because unless you have to fly to the port of embarkation, if you're local, it's a piece of cake. For me to arrange transportation, ground transportation, it is too easy. It's just too easy. And actually to book your flight for you, I'll be able to do that as well. And if you need overnight lodging, I can arrange that, plus the ground transportation to the embarkation port. And I have my program in November 13 hopefully I'll get enough veterans and spouses to join me on that cruise for the workshop. And what we're doing here is kind of similar to what I do in the workshops, but it includes more exercises, and you have to work on your goal, that one goal that you have to choose for your project, and you actually have to go through the whole process, like the 10 steps that I'm doing for the next 10 weeks. Yes, it's part of it. And the booklet that I told you, the ebook that I will gladly send to you free of charge for you to study. There's 10 principles that you can use, the things that you're going to be going through when you decide to realize your dreams. You want to change your life for the best. So I liked having people on, mainly on board a ship, because there's so much abundance. And before I go on to our tonight's topic, the abundance and the opulence is a trick. And I'm not the only one who uses that, but once I plucked myself from the ordinary environment that I've lived in for many years, and I transported myself by sheer will into such an environment of opulence and abundance, and I saw it all around me. And it's actually a mind to body to mind trick, because when you see it, you're validating to your brain, which you're trying to change the programming, and they see it, they taste it, they feel it, they smell it. The body makes the connection with the mindset, and they kind of duck each other into accepting what they're seeing. And I believe that this is a better way to teach all these 10 principles plus other materials that I teach, and to changing how you live, how you think, and how that reflects on your life's results. And across the board, every time I turned around, I looked, I saw no lack of anything. And I would tell myself, there's more where this came from. There's so much around. There's so much food, there's so much drink. Yeah, probably too much drink, but I don't drink as much as other people. I'll just have to put that on the record. But I allow myself some extra of anything I wanted, and sometimes it was just so much that I actually I settled back into a very calm attitude, that I didn't have to worry about where anything was going to come from. And this is a good way to trick the mind into believing that future self that you want to be, you are today, you are right now. So that's where the idea of going on a cruise ship came about. I had to test it. I did not really have any expectations other than I have no idea where I'm going. I mean, I know where I'm going, but where am I going? Where am I going with this? So, and it really worked. It worked wonders, where I seized on an opportunity to engage my mind and tell it and reinforce that it's going to be okay. People who lose their jobs don't go on cruises. They don't go on a 7-day cruise to the Caribbean. They just don't. People usually, if this happened to you, they go into a depression, they feel bad about themselves, they start the blame game. Did I not tell you last week's podcast about the victim mentality versus the victor? Are you the winner or the loser? Let's just put it in plain English. And we shift into the loser. It's all about us. Yeah, it is about us, but how we treat ourselves when we get hit by a little bit of hardship, it's amazing. It's how you respond to it. Now, we went through that last week, and that how we handle what comes at us, we can either reject or accept. So that's where the idea of going on a cruise ship came about. It's so much easier though. Like I said, unless you're out of town and you don't come to where I am and to the embarkation point, you have to fly, or maybe you'll take a train. I'm still planning on doing that. That was in the cards for a little while, and then I decided against it. A matter of logistics, really. And the price was right though, just to get to the train station, park my car, and just go all the way down, let's just say to Miami. And that's a scenic route like you won't believe. It takes 27 hours from the part of Virginia that I'm at to go all the way to Miami, Florida. And that's something that should be experienced. I love trains, by the way. And I have some train trips in my mind that are kind of going to be in the pipeline soon, and I will bring you with me if you're up to it. And all these lessons will be going on the road with me, per se. Every time I travel, there will be something to add to these lessons. And when we hit the week 10, I can do a recap. Very nice recap. I shouldn't be looking at my phone. We should do a recap of everything. And hopefully, if you reached out to me during the 10-week period and you asked me if I could give you an opinion on what your goal is and how you want to achieve it, I'll be more than happy to give you some pointers and help you along the way. But at the end of the 10 weeks or before that, if you want to request the free ebook, let me know. But you have to contact me directly. I'm not going to put it out for sale. This is my gift to listeners and subscribers. And all you have to do is tune in, subscribe, and hopefully you bring more people into awareness that I exist, and I will be forever grateful. So this is what I give to you. And it took me some time to put this together in a hurry, because I wanted something that I can convey to you, to give you something to chew on, basically, something physical you can actually look at and read it and actually digest all these materials that I'm throwing at you. So I've been by bits and pieces trying to put it together for you, and it's finally come to fruition. And I'm really grateful that you're sticking around for this. So let me move on to discovery. So let me start with, is it you? Is it all about you? Is it all in your head? I know I've said this before. Yes, it's all in your head. It's all in my head. Let's not even be concerned about what happens outside of us. How about we spend some time inside of us and analyzing further what makes us tick often becomes is what gets in the way, mainly because we accept our behaviors as this is the way we are, therefore we act. And that's a very strange, when you migrate away from that mindset, you're going to think, wow, that's really weird. That's really weird. And it really is, because we're in the way of our own progress. And as I say last week with dissatisfaction, we don't like what we see. We don't like what we're tasting or feeling or seeing, but we're not doing anything about it. We just have a feeling that we're just not in the right place. And then this is what's shifting you into discovering that when you start looking from within, you then see. I want you to be able to observe. I'm not going to go into actually interacting with your own mind at this point. I'll bring that back once we get into the other steps. I will bring that up. And if I don't, remind me, because I may take one of the tools, little tricks from my tool bag, and actually throw it out there, and you can try it. But there will be a point where you're going to have to look inside your mind and then actually test it, because some of you may not believe that. How can I possibly be living, existing, and with a mindset that controls me? How does it really work? Is that if you don't see it? And there's the best way of showing you, and that is through observation. And you have to be really objective. And I understand this is going to be a challenge, but this is part of your reprogramming. So you have to be open-minded enough to look at yourself objectively, as challenging as it is, and actually observe as though, let's just say, if you're observing yourself, your own thinking and your own behaviors, as though you were observing someone else. The only thing I want to ask you to try to work on is don't be judgmental. You've been the way you are. That's the way she is. That's the way he is. You've been doing this for a long time. Just like I was behaving the way that this is the way I was for a long, long time. And sometimes I got glimpses of, this is not right, only to get the override process of, no, come back here. This is your programming. You program me this way. This is the way we're supposed to behave. So to get you away from that, your discovery phase has to come quickly. Once you become really unhappy about what's going on in your life, you have to stop and start observing. You have to listen. And I'm not going to talk about intuition tonight. Intuition will come in one of the other chapters, okay? But you can start listening. You can start observing, as though do this exercise. If you do any meditation or any thinking, if you have like a quiet moment during the day, sit simply quiet. You can do it like an evening like tonight, and you can try tonight after this podcast, and just write on a piece of paper. Have something always to write on, primarily because it's important to have documentation of what you're doing. Many people go from rags to riches, and they don't know, they can't tell you how they got there. They may look over their shoulder like, man, that was a long time ago. And they probably don't wonder how they got there. They're so happy they got to where they are, that they don't dwell on how the hard times that they had. They remember them, but they don't live in that the space and time anymore. And it's really important that you start journaling. And I know that's not for teenagers to write about, some nonsensical stuff that we do. I had until about less than a year ago, I still had journals from junior high school, and when I left home. That's a story enough to write a book. That's going to be my book, by the way. Not going to go into that story now, but I had stuff that I was writing when I was a teenager. I still had it. Some people still keep that, and they go back to it. I don't. When I looked at it, I decided that it had to be destroyed. Some part of me was like hanging on, like, am I going to relive through all this? So documentation was good. Some things that I read, I just kind of went like, whatever. I'm past that. And I was more than happy to burn them all. I had several. I must have had at least 10 or 11 books, just journals that I've been keeping. And I married and divorced and went into the service. I still had them. And I would start some that were halfway through a year and then stop. And something really serious or big and traumatic happened in my life, and I did not write for a while. And sometimes I did write a couple of times where some things that were traumatic to me were taking place, and I was writing as it was happening, and I did not need to live in that place anymore. So the some I just kind of scoffed at it. Letters from my mother, judgment from a parent, nah, that stuff had to go. It had to go away. So the journaling can be a friend. So if you're looking for an answer like why am I the way that I am, and it's not serving me, and I don't like the way my life is, and you want to turn it around, this is where you start. So you can always go back. As you're doing present time journaling, it's very therapeutic. You may be upset. You may end up being a little bit pissed off at yourself for the things that you write, but there's no judgment. There should be no judgment. This is really documenting a process, and you have to do your best. You can be like a scientist and be objective, be unbiased, and just forget that you're analyzing your own behavior. But you can look inside, and you just like you can judge how you behave, you can analyze, you can be objective on how you behave, and realize it's not serving you and you want to change. You can do this. I can do this, and you have no idea how hard it was for me to break me. And I still sometimes catch myself getting a little bit out of line, and I had to get back on track. So it's a lifetime endeavor, but it's a happy one, because once you decide that you're going to change, you decide that you're going to change. You should already be the mindset that you've already changed, but we're not going to get that far ahead yet. So is it me? So now what? Be open to new ideas. At this point, you have to give permission to give yourself compassion and love. You have to start by being nice to yourself. And the recommendations need to stop now. That's one thing I want to leave you with tonight before I do anything else, is you have to I wasn't going to talk about forgiveness yet. That's a whole different podcast, but forgiveness is a tool that you will have to utilize very strictly here. And I'm not even into whatever week that is that I want to discuss discipline. We're not even there yet. We're just not discovering that we are part of the problem. So you always, the one thing you want to break is immediately is shaming, self-hatred. Watch what you say out loud, watch what you think about yourself. As of now, you're working today, and today is a clean slate. And today's coming to an end, I know, but in a few hours, you're gonna go to sleep, and in a few more hours, you'll wake. And you should be grateful. First thing is gratitude that you woke up and that you get to experience life. And this isn't, it's gonna go into the discipline part, but gratitude, I'll always plug it into every one of these sections of the training. Okay, so be grateful and document how you're feeling. And if you're laughing about feelings and thinking they're silly, that stops now. It stops today. So being yourself is not always a true or a good thing. You have to examine, how am I myself? So you can write it any way you want that works for you. Your list should illustrate how you have been behaving up until today. Now, the interactions that trigger reactions, like I discussed in your dissatisfaction week last week, go over those again. When you react to new and old things, remember I told you about that. Your brain works primarily on what is learned from captured moments in time and how you reacted, and records that. And it's gonna give you an estimate. It's gonna give you an estimate. How much energy do I want to put into what that person said and my response? It's going to tell you, it's going to give you an estimate of what, this is how you reacted last time you were faced with this situation. Use it now. It's a shortcut. These are shortcuts. Avoid shortcuts. Avoid them. Is it my way or your way or the highway? That's going to have to be worked on if that's something you're having a problem with. So keep asking, is it me, and now what? What do I do? Is my way of being causing this? And if you get a big yes, and just wait and just don't force it. You may get that answer a couple days from now. You're sitting quietly at home, just thinking, and you can write it down. And this is a private endeavor. I mean, you can practice with a family member if you have a spouse or children, but work on you today. For the next week, 10 weeks, make this a commitment that you're going to do this. This is 10 steps, and I'm taking along with me by the hand. This is a lot of hand holding, so you're not by yourself here. So how we treat others, it reflects on us. How we treat ourselves, and it builds up in our mind. I just want to go over these points real quick. And you have a finite set of behaviors. So you're defining yourself by how you respond or behave every time on the certain circumstances. This is how you are. This is exactly what's getting in the way of your progress. So what you're looking for is feedback. So if the feedback you're getting from yourself is that, yeah, how do I feel? So write a section of your notes to say, how do I feel? How does that make me feel? And if you feel frustrated and angry, or frustrated again, and you just go back and forth, and you're not really getting to a point where, am I feeling any happiness, any joy, any satisfaction, then that's the sweet spot right there. You want to write that down. Ask the question and just tell yourself, just quietly, so your mind hears you in a soft voice. I'm going to use auditory commands with you, okay? So you say, how can I get better? And whatever it is that the problem is, just ask yourself. I want, don't say I want, because wanting is something that it's kind of iffy. It may not necessarily be actionable, because wanting is kind of quite in the desire pile is more in the fantasy file. So we want to deal with facts. If once you determine that you know what the problem is within yourself that's holding you back, then you need to address it. So you need to look at it. You take it and look at it, and then you twist it, you turn it around, you take it apart if you have to. I'm that kind of person. I like to dissect things, and I get to the point. And this is what you're going to be learning on this 10-week journey. So this is discovery phase. Here you're discovering that you're not bad, but how you've become has definitely turned into that monster that's keeping you from achieving the things you want in life. And you definitely have to take control of that. But recognizing that there is a problem and that you're holding yourself back is definitely it's the second step, but it's a first step is just making the decision that you're going to look objectively at how you have been you for a long time and how this is holding you back. So I'm going to leave you with that. Don't forget, I'm going, pretty soon, this is going to be the last podcast broadcast from the home headquarters. And I will be someplace, could be in a beach or I don't know. I'm just glad I'm going to be getting out of town pretty soon. But I look forward to having you with me on my trip, and also to continue with this 10 Transformational Lessons, part of my 30 Days to Success program. If you're interested and for me to work with you, let me know. You want that PDF, the ebook, I will gladly send it to you, but you got to ask. It's not going to happen on its own. So I want to thank you again for subscribing, for listening every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time in the Pursuit of Joy. Don't forget to check me out on YouTube in case that you missed the actual podcast. You should know that I'm recording simultaneously with video to post on YouTube, and this podcast also goes directly to direct publication to my YouTube channel. The new YouTube channel for the next couple of weeks on travel is going to also be named In the Pursuit of Joy podcast on the road. I think that's what I named it. It should be fairly easy to find. I don't know what else to tell you. It's an exciting time. I'm really grateful for you. I hope that you have a fantastic evening. I really hope you start working on yourself this week. Even if you didn't start last week, go to the Satisfaction podcast from last week. That's May 2nd. And I look forward to working with you. So I'm going to be doing week 3. That should be interesting, from on location. And I'm really excited for all of us. Have a blessed night, and thank you for listening. I'll see you soon.